Almost 80% of the ocean hasn't been discovered. What are you most likely to find there? Sunken ships from all periods of the past. And treasure, and most importantly, the rum. Sadly, the rum has gone. Why is the rum gone? Fishes had a great party. I think there will be a load of species that we either didn't know about or thought were extinct. Would be pretty cool to discover a dinosaur of sorts right in the deep dark ocean. Especially cool if it's a T-Rex. Might be those tiny arms make them great swimmers. Like little propellers. A sea Rex. MH370. This is a great article with a very plausible theory on what may have happened. Edit, too long, didn't read. Pilot was assumed to be clinically depressed based on interviews with friends and family, planned possible suicide mission on flight simulator game, killed all passengers and remaining crew painlessly within minutes by depressurizing cabin, while he himself wore a specialized pilot's air pressure mask, before setting course over the Indian Ocean, flew for a few more hours until sunrise, then manually crashed the plane down into the ocean to die on an impact, assuming he didn't want to accidentally survive a gradual descent landing. Edit 2. Oh, and also, Malaysia government is corrupt as F and wanted to hide all the information related to the flight to take spotlight away from them. Including providing false information so other countries wasted money searching the wrong ocean, before new information was leaked. Edit 3. Also, some random modestly wealthy American is dedicating his life to finding flotsam from the flight in an effort to eventually find the crash site. Web link. I think it's the most plausible case because he did a bank turn directly over where he grew up after sunrise and then flew out into the ocean. Horrific thing to do. Rent a Cessna butthole. I know. I would feel terrible for the guy if he'd taken the plane out on his own, but why on earth would you choose to take hundreds of innocent people with you? If this theory is true, then literally the last thing this guy did before he died was committed mass murder. Why would you actively choose for that to be the last thing you did before you died? Well, that was a rabbit hole and a half. A lot of people killed by the mob. Guns to arm a small army. Probably just a bunch of bioluminescent creatures and small weird-looking creatures. Also, trash and maybe pieces of unsolved mysteries that happened out at sea. I'd expect to find some kind of artifact or fossil as well that dates back millions of years. I want gigantic sea creatures to be real cause tutted just be coolest. But sadly our friend blue whale will have to do. I hope Atlantis is a thing. Maybe some mermaids. Let's make mermaids ourselves. We select a portion of the human population and force them to live out at sea. We start slowly, only into rare ankles in water. But not allowed out for generations. And we slowly move them further out to sea. The is the closest human got to a mermaid. They can dive to 70 meters easily and their lungs has evolved, so they can stay at water for more than 5 minutes. Edit, it's spleen not lungs. Web link. It's more than 5 minutes and it actually has nothing to do with their lungs. They have massively oversized spleens which hold extra blood cells. So they can store a lot more oxygen in their blood than other humans. Their lungs are mostly unchanged. What about giant squid? Those are real. Are squid a joke to you, sir? 80% of what we have discovered down there are creatures straight out of a horror story, so it's likely we'll discover something even more horrifying. I heard some stories of the guys that weld in the deep dark areas that have to live in pressurized containers while working. There are many stories of huge currents passing by them from something big swimming by that they can't see in the blackness. That's a nope from me. I was just watching a video yesterday of 20 of the craziest animals from the deep sea and I got to thinking that I don't know why we go around pretending monsters don't exist. Some of the things down there couldn't be described as anything beside that. Edit, it wasn't actually 20, I had mixed that part up with another video but it's still a good watch. YouTube link. If you've never seen or heard of a Komodo dragon, lion or bear before and stumble on one in the wild with no understanding of the origin of this creature, your first thought would be WTF, is this monster trying to kill me? A real-life monster is just something you don't have any knowledge of yet. Anything monstrous quickly becomes just another animal as soon as you learn it exists. Yeah, that was pretty much my thought process. We always act like whatever we discover at the bottom would be terrifying and be called a monster, but in actuality we'd try to study the crap out of it and it would just become another thing that exists with us. All will wake it from its eternal slumber and all go mad. Who knows? I'd like to add rhinos to that list. They are effectively a fairy tale unicorn but with armor all over. I read an article once about some expedition to the bottom of one of the deep trenches. Don't remember if the submersible was manned or not. At some point, during their rise to the surface, some bizarre spherical squid-like creature followed them, but it lost interest and went back down. Nobody involved in that dive had the slightest clue what that monster was. So I have a feeling that whatever critters lived down there will put to shame even the most frightening Lovecraftian monsters. Just look at how scary the goblin shark is. I bet there are things down there that would frighten even that hell spawn. The Krabby Patty secret formula. Plankton has entered the chat. Weird ugly butt fish. Original poster replies. I imagine the Simpsons movie where the squirrel has 1,000 eyes. Epea. Cities of academic fish pondering what they'll find on the 80% of land they haven't explored. They explored 20%? They decided they liked the taste of lion. We've talked to ourselves. We've communicated and said, you know what, lion tastes good, let's go get some more lion. We've developed a system to establish a beachhead and aggressively hunt you and your family, and we will corner your pride, your children, your offspring. We will construct a series of breathing apparatuses using kelp. Not enough for days at a time but an hour? Hour 45? No problem. That'll give us enough time to figure out where you live, go back to the sea, get more oxygen and then stalk you. Did that go the way you thought it was going to go? Nope. Did that go the way you thought it was going to go? Nope. Fish aren't as dumb as you think. They aren't caught by fishermen because they don't know what a hook is. The bravest warriors of the fish society sacrifice themselves and bite the hook on purpose. If they are lucky, they will be thrown back into the drink and now they can tell the other fish what they have seen. That's how they explored 20%. There are fish everywhere on our planet. Whether it's the sea, a lake, a river or even a small creek. They have their eyes everywhere. But how do they exchange information from a creek fish to a sea fish, you may ask? Well, salmon are the messengers of the fish world. That's why they travel up and down the rivers once a year. Not to reproduce, that's just concealment. They do in fact carry valuable information. Edit, spelling. Cities of academic fish. You mean schools of fish? Detecting multiple Leviathan-class lifeforms in the region. Are you certain that whatever you're doing is worth it? Dope butt Cyclops catastrophe synth music starts playing. I don't even play the game and that line inflicted some fear into me. This ecological biome matches 7 of the 9 preconditions for stimulating terror in humans. Warning, entering ecological dead zone. This is why I watch the Schmidt, Okeanos, and Nautilus ocean floor survey live streams. An ocean rover manned by a team of biologists and technicians live stream their coverage of the bottom of the ocean, collecting specimens and seeing amazing things, often for hours. It's super soothing and yet extremely engaging, and the crew have a great rapport, and are often full of silly marine puns. Often they run into some extremely beautiful and amazing sights, and garbage is actually quite rare, thankfully, and the campaigns last for about a week of daily 5-hour-long streams, every few months. It rules. Web link. I wonder how much funds needed for this kind of deep-sea expedition team. I work on a NSF-funded deep-sea oceanography research vessel, and I've been told it's around $50,000 per day for the ship, crew, food and fuel. I believe ROFs/OVs are an additional cost. I paid an extra $10K/day for ROF Global Explorer, which is much smaller with more limited capabilities than Jason or others. Plus loading/unloading and other fees. Biologist here. Such expeditions are mostly funded by selling the horrible eldritch idols that we find occultists and weird collectors. It's always annoying when you take samples and there are too many eldritch artifacts in your canisters, though, and then the crew starts to go insane. And the truly cursed tablets and idols often reappear on the ship after you sold them. Doesn't that mean you get more money from selling them again though? That just seems like good business. Exorcists hate this one trick. Maybe we can find ourselves and learn to love life again. The drain plug. I imagine there is some kind of absolutely huge lobster down there. Deep-sea gigantism is a thing. Giant isopods, squid, spider crabs, and sea are all far larger than their relatives that live closer to the surface. There's also the fact that lobsters never stop growing until they die and do not suffer negative effects of aging. Basically, I just wanted to talk about lobsters for a minute. Did you know lobsters have at least 2 penises? Did you know lobsters attract mates by pissing out of their eyes? Lobsters are effing cool as crap. Edit. Damn, y'all, I didn't expect this post to blow up like this. Anyway, did you guys know that California spiny lobsters apparently taste better than Maine lobsters, but they aren't eaten in large numbers here, as the vast majority are exported to China? Did you guys know that California spiny lobsters scare away predators by using their huge antennae to make a loud noise that sounds like a train stopping? Has the squad heard that female California spiny lobsters have a small claw near one of their lady for some reason? Did you guys know that 2 of the California spiny lobsters' main predators are the lingcod? Did y'all know the lingcod isn't a ling, and it isn't a cod? And the cabezon, 2 of the only fish in the world that have blue meat? How about how Langostino lobsters aren't lobsters at all but are actually more closely related to hermit crabs? I love information about lobsters, but I did learn recently that they do have a size limit. It's mostly due to becoming too big to move/eat. Also, the larger they get the thicker the shell has to be to hold back the pressure, so they do have an upper limit. It's massive though. Edit. I have been informed that the shell does nothing to resist the pressure. It is still an issue, just not because of the shell. Also, lobsters need to shed their shells every so often. Sometimes they are eaten when they are doing this, but some older crabs and lobsters physically do not have the energy to molt and grow a new shell and die of exhaustion. Look up lobster molting if you think you can handle it. Now it makes it worse. Imagine seeing a big butt lobster shell, knowing that it simply means there's a bigger one out there now. It helps to think that maybe that bigger lobster is also super embarrassed because he's naked. Crushing water pressure. Probably some silt, a few fish, our Lord Cthulhu, nothing out of the ordinary. Mermaids. But not like we imagine them, probably scary. No buttholes here, they all sexy and crap. They comb their hair all day on the rocks. I've seen them at Disneyland. Water mostly. Who are you? So wise in the ways of science? /user Ragnars85. It says it right there. Reddit link. No way. Do that again. Original poster replies. I'm an idiot for asking this, aren't I? People like to say there are no stupid questions. Hands up if you came here to see if the top comment was water. Plastic garbage. What's sad is that plastic has already been discovered at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Scientists predicted it would eventually happen, but not so soon. Danger. The 5 ocean zones are as follows: the sunlight zone, the twilight zone, the midnight zone, the abyssal zone, the danger zone. Opportunity. Not that much, depending on how you view it. The oceans are mostly vast deserts, so to speak, in that there are very few life forms in the open seas. Obviously there are things out there, but compared to the shores or the reefs, they're pretty empty. The other thing is, once you go far enough out, the sea floor drops a lot and you don't get sunlight reaching the floor. So there's no plant life for a lot of it, and it's pitch black. But that being said, there are strange and alien creatures in the deep, stuff very unlike what we see on land or in the shallow waters. Plus, there's the ocean itself, massive currents that affect the entire planet, layers of water with big temperature and salinity differences. Most of the water won't have seen daylight for hundreds of thousands of years. I expect we wouldn't find anything super new or different to what we see now. We will likely find some new species, but as to whether they'll be drastically different to what we already know, well, who knows? There might be interesting stuff on the floor itself. We found new continents and stuff over the years. Going out on a limb here. Fish of some kind? No, but this actually scares me. I hate the ocean because of the fact that most of it is still undiscovered. I have no idea what could be down there, and I think that's the scariest thing about it, to be honest. I imagine some kinds of terrifying fish creatures. If it's any comfort, the creatures down there are used to immense pressure. They couldn't come to the surface, let alone leave the water, for extended periods of time, if at all. And bold claims of thriving sentient life in the ocean aren't realistic either, since we have satellite maps of the seafloor and we'd have noticed artificial structures like cities. Something we haven't seen before. My missing socks. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.